For Lubbock, Texas painter Shannon Cannings, there is more to plastic squirt guns than harmless summertime fun. These are symbols of a particularly American obsession, a fascination with all things shiny, glossy, colorful, commercial, and dangerous. Her latest exhibition, Target Audience, on view at Midland's Museum of the Southwest, represents her deepest dive yet, exploring not only the iconography of the toy gun, but the often disorienting systems of communication that exist around gun culture and gun control in America.
This was not my plan. I was painting beach balls and pool floats and stuff because I moved to West Texas and it's hot and brown and I'm a Yankee and it was weird here and I needed to kind of find something that was comforting. And I was painting these like wet plastic things, and then it sort of became clear that what I was painting was Americana through plastic stuff. And so it was not on my radar at all. And then I found a pack of squirt guns and they were so beautiful. The colors were amazing, and then the plastic, and it was like within the plastic they were plastic and they were clear, and then so when you hit them with light they would shine on the wall, and the colors, oh my god. That's the thing about these, they're all like, they're so pretty, and like, you know, all of this like shiny little detaily stuff and all that, there's something really amazing about those the shiny colors, the translucent, the plasticky. Before you even get into like nostalgia of being a kid and playing with water guns, you know, this stuff is really kind of attractive, and I'm super attracted to these things. Look how gorgeous this thing is. I wish it still worked. It's got a flint wheel in it. So, but it doesn't light up anymore. I'd have to change out the flint somehow. I've drawn that one a few times and painted it. I love it. This one, you put bubble stuff in it and you turn it and it shoots bubbles. All right. Okay, wait a minute. Now I'm down to the, there we go. Here's one of them. This is a glass gun that would have originally been filled with candy. Now look, I've had the candy in it so long it's splitting. That's weird. But I've put new candies in these. But if you think about what this does, if you give this to a child, they're gonna take the top off and they're going to put this gun in their mouth and they get candy. Like, it seems to me maybe a terrible idea. And then I painted them and they had a different reaction. They had the color and the reflective qualities and the shiny and the plastic and the Americana and all the stuff that the beach balls had, but they had something else. They had some other sort of something that was hidden to me, maybe. I just wasn't sure how to deal with it yet. It felt like something I needed to explore more and ask more questions. And so I'm not sure that I did not set out to make a polarizing thing. I set out to answer personal questions. Why do I feel this way about this? Why can't I tell my mother I bought squirt guns? You know, what's the matter with me? That's weird. And then I discovered in it that the questions that I had, other people had, and or at least that there was crossover with the questions that we were asking. And people grow up with a different level of comfort with firearms, real and fake. And there's a whole range of normal, and one person's normal is another person's crazy. And so you have to be able to figure out how we have to play nice, at least to, hold the country together. So when I see people who are on the side of the extreme side of gun control, who want to just outlaw everything and nobody needs these things, I think, well, that's not true. That's, there seems to be like some really, really good uses for firearms. And then, on the other side, make everything legal and don't, tell me I can't have magazines that are unlimited. Like, that seems crazy too. And so I feel like my understanding of this has become nuanced in a way that I wasn't expecting. And I feel like my role in this has become maybe more important than when I first started as well, because I feel like I want that conversation to be important. I think when I first started working with the squirt guns, they were quieter paintings. They were often one still life object on a plain background, dealing with shadow and light and reflections. But I made them more, actually I made a series of them that were 2-foot squares that I referred to as gun cases because they looked like they were precious objects. And when I framed them to the back so that they would create a shadow on the wall, and then it had a fake shadow in it, so that it looked like it was a precious object, because we sort of think about the guns themselves as being this sort of precious object. And I think they were much quieter and contemplative in a different way. As more school shootings happen, as more mass shootings happen, as I'm raising kids of this, the level of noise that's associated with the fight between gun control and gun rights, it seems like it's getting louder and more cacophonous and more disturbing, and I feel like the gun paintings have morphed with that, and they become louder and cacophonous with it. So I think when I started making the pieces that have the mylar behind them, that you take this object that's understandable form and then make it in a non-understandable space, like a cacophonous space. They're loud and distorted. It's almost like the language that we use. And so I feel like they're chaotic and less understandable, and things are fighting at the same time. And then when I've introduced the targets to them, it's sort of a way of reining it back in, trying to make sense of it. They are more graphic pattern, and so I think that I also have a tendency to paint the things that I am attracted to, and so I'm attracted to good graphic quality things. And when I've had shows where they were all the mylar pieces together, it's a lot. It's sort of everything on the wall screaming at you at the same time. And I prefer the shows that have some quiet, some loud, some contemplative, so that each piece you have to sort of reevaluate it. it's the loud ones, then it is visual noise coming at you. But when it's the target, then we have to consider ourselves as well. So you have to consider the viewer and their proximity to this and their personal connection to this. And who is the target? Is the audience member the target? Is it a person who is a victim of gun violence? Are they the target? Or are we, when we use the words target audience, that's also what advertisement uses. And so when people are selling toy guns to children, there are teams figuring out the right wording and color and placement and all of that to make them purchase more of these and make their parents purchase more of these. And so, you know, I like the idea of target audience being multiple reads. I am thinking most about a connection to the audience more than anything. I don't make work for myself, otherwise I would keep it to myself. You know, I would make it and keep it in a sketchbook or something. And I don't make work for an audience either, because I feel like that's sticky territory, because I know some people do, but I don't want to make work that's for an audience that divorces myself from it, because I feel like that's too predatory. It feels like then I am an advertiser, you know what I mean? Then I am marketing to this person. What do they need and what do they want and how do I get that? And I don't want that either. I feel like what I'm looking for is the discourse, like you mentioned. I think that what I enjoy most is when I have people who bump into each other in the gallery and have an argument or discussion about it. And that happens every show. I get people who come from different backgrounds or from different environments. They have different opinions, different history with these objects, and they fight with me or fight with each other. And I think that it's through those conversations that this gets solved. Sandy Hook changed everything for me, because I was painting kids with guns and I was making paintings that were set up. So I borrowed my friends' children who had boys because they looked alike, you know, and I had them back to back playing Charlie's Angels, you know, and that sort of thing. And I was so excited the day I started that painting of them back to back. I had them drawn up and I was just about to start putting paint on the canvas. And I went in I forget what I did, I got a drink and peed or something, and was about to come back out, and my phone was blown up with news. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And it was the Sandy Hook shooting. And my own children were in elementary school. Like, we biked to elementary school, so it's not far, but they were down there, and there was nothing I could do about this. This was in, you know, that was happening in Connecticut, but my children were here, but not with me. And I was in the studio painting children with guns. And suddenly there's an entire classroom of first graders that won't go home that day. But I get to go down and pick up my first grader. And it's like, then you feel this guilt as a parent. And it could be anybody. It could be anybody's kid at any time. And then you start to feel vulnerable and pissed off, and I just felt gutted that there was no way I couldn't go back out to the studio that day. I couldn't go out for weeks. It took me a very long time to kind of be able to look at little children and guns and paint them, but I thought it was important. Whatever that thing is that was making me feel like I was going to throw up was important.
Weeks before Target Audience was set to open, tragedy struck close to home. The incomprehensible horror of the shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, forced Cannings to again confront the deeper meaning behind her work.
And so here I am in the middle of the last painting for this show, and the Uvalde shooting happens, and literally the words behind the last painting are how it's the government warnings that come with every firearm about how to safely store it. You have to store them without the bullets in them, and secured in different locations and all this, and it says all, and to keep it out of reach of children. And here we are again. So and I had to finish the painting. So I was so close, but it was really like my stomach was hurting and I wasn't sleeping, and I was having a really hard time, because this is exactly what the painting is about, and here it is again. So I hope to keep communication open with this show and with others that I have. I want people to communicate with me and with each other, and I want them to be involved in the difficult task of solving some of the issues that we have with gun violence. I don't think that hard-lined screaming matches and violence is an answer. I think that communication is, we have to just look at logic and facts and change some things to make us safer.
Shannon Canning's target audience is on view at the Museum of the Southwest through September 2022.